Alrighty. I believe we are live. With the wrong day again. Let me fix that real quick. Rightio. Yeah, welcome back. Let me test my audio as usual. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Let me test my audio as usual. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that is fine. So yeah, another stream. I wasn't able to stream yesterday, unfortunately. I had a late work meeting, but yeah, happy to be back on it today. It's pretty likely this will be my last stream for potentially a week or two. I have a business trip coming up, so yeah, I doubt I'll be able to do too much streaming then, unfortunately, but as soon as I get back, I'll be back into creating these again. Cup of tea. Right. So tonight, I just kind of want to move forward with the asset system. It's nothing probably extremely exciting for you guys, unfortunately, but it's pretty critical to the engine, so I'm just going to go ahead and put some work in on these sort of base systems of the engine, and yeah, we'll see how we go. I'm hoping to get through at least texture loading, because that's the only real asset we have right now, and then maybe we can look at materials if I get that in, and then potentially start looking at the actual content browser system. So essentially what I've done, I can't remember how much of this I've shown, but you know what, let's just leak those for now. I'm pretty sure you guys saw everything I did here. Basically I have these loader classes which come from this interface, and then the editor, I think, which is probably not the best thing in the world, but the editor essentially just registers these loaders so that the editor knows which sort of like files we support, basically, which assets we support, and the asset manager pretty much just maintains a list of assets, loaders, and this is just like a quick lookup for extensions. So basically if I import asset here, this list is essentially built from all of the loaders we have. So we have textures and audio with WAV, OGG and PNG, and those essentially just come from the loaders specifying which types they support, which file extensions they support. So where we got up to and where I'm currently up to is essentially I need to actually do the loading part now. So this if I import the asset, so like this, it does, I should have done that with a breakpoint actually. Let me do that. I think sometimes I need a refresh to get these to catch. There we go. Do we hit that? Yeah, we hit it. I'm not sure why sometimes the circle is not highlighted, but yeah, so it does know, because I imported a PNG, it does know to delegate that to the texture loader to handle the actual import. We also have an audio loader as well, so actually let me just double check that works as well. Should be fine. Audio loader. So now if I import a sound, yeah, we get the audio loader is the thing that receives the call. So we are pretty much good to go here. So what I need to do, if you look at the way I've done textures so far, essentially we have a class that wraps a 3JS texture. but it does its own sort of internal loading, which is not really what I want anymore. I want the loader to do the loading, and this UAsset to be a little more generic. Because we might not always create a texture by loading it like this. We might create like a render target or a runtime texture, or you know, I don't know, load it from RAM somewhere or something. So yeah, I need to basically take this out, which oh, right now it's unhappy that it's not definitely set. Okay, so I need to kind of do this semi-delicately, excuse me, but yeah, so we have this asset class. All it is right now is a UAsset, which contains a source path. So when we construct a texture, I think what we actually want to take in is the data directly now. And do the loading on the outside, and otherwise this is actually going to be pretty similar. So we'll do that. Yeah, so we've got the loader, and then if we do texture, new texture asset, new texture 2D, and now it'll take an actual data, actual texture data. So we should be able to just do loader.load from the import path. We don't really handle if something goes wrong here, which is not great. Yeah, we should probably be doing that. I can get rid of this now. Because if it fails, like say this path gets set to something weird and it's unable to load it, or it's like, I don't know, read only or something weird, it's just gonna throw an exception here probably. And then essentially after we've loaded it, what I'm thinking is maybe like in the asset manager, we register an asset somewhere. Yep, don't really have anything implemented yet, but this actually might be more of like a create asset, because what needs to happen basically, and I should recap this I guess from last stream, but I want there to be, when I import this asset, basically a .uasset file created on my disk that maps to basically a serialized UAsset, essentially, is what that's going to be. So in this case, that would be a UTexture, or texture 2D. So I'd save things like the wrapping settings and all that. I'd save the source path. The data, we'll have to see about saving that itself. I probably will, but we'll, otherwise we could use the source path to load it. But essentially those assets are going to live in here, but they're going to be pulled from disk, I think, to populate this list. Which means I do need another function. Sorry, I'm basically just thinking out loud here, but create asset will be different than registering. Registering will basically find a .uasset on disk and like deserialize it and basically put it in this array here, or this map. Create asset will actually go ahead and create that UAsset on disk, I think, is how I'm going to handle this. So and I guess I just pass through the asset. Oops, every time I get this in the wrong order because I'm used to doing types first in these languages. yeah, so here is where we would essentially, I guess, create .uasset file on disk, which is basically how an import is going to work. And then we want to register the new asset. And then in here, this is going to load a .uasset from disk into loaded assets or something. Map. Yeah, I guess maybe to be extra clear, I should call this loaded. Because we don't always necessarily want to fully load them. We can basically treat these assets as essentially a path until we actually need to load the asset, like load this texture. Like if we're in a different level right now, I might not need this texture. I could still know it exists and maybe know metadata about it, but I won't actually kind of necessarily have to load it, which would essentially be putting it into RAM in this array or this map right here. Yeah. So and register the new asset. Okay, so this is basically what I need to implement. So I guess the first step is going to be creating the uasset file on disk. So what I should do, I suppose, is if I look, did I make a game? Yeah, game content textures. I'll just treat that as the kind of the hard path for now. Actually, let's just get rid of textures. Game content. Obviously, eventually this is going to be a full content browser, which is essentially just going to be like a file system browser. And it would import the asset into the file you have open here. But because I haven't actually implemented any of this yet, I'll just hard code it to this path essentially. Now, to do this, I'm almost certain that we're going to have to fiddle around with, actually let me just call this asset manager.create asset, because otherwise I'll forget. It's interesting the file name comes through separately, but that's fine. I'm almost certain we're going to have to do something with the Electron main process here to actually interact with the file system. So I'm going to actually look that up so I don't fiddle around for too long trying to figure it out myself. If we look at file, like, I don't know, just create file or something, there'll be probably like a helper function or something for it. FS, okay. Okay, so in that case, if I do go to the main, not this main, I actually have a couple of main files. Index, that's the one. I would like to clean this up at some point too, but for now I don't actually know a better way to do this other than what I'm kind of doing here. But so import asset gets called, yeah, it does all that stuff. Then it goes asset import request, which does that stuff, and then I need another thing which can be like on, and this will be serialize asset maybe. I'll just chuck a debugger thing in there, which actually I think might only work on the front end now that I think about it. Now how do I do this whole freaking dance again? I gotta do in here serialize asset. And that basically has nothing. Returns nothing. But that's just the type. I now need to actually forward it right here. So that's, what would that be? Serialize asset. And that is just ICP render.on, and we send over, what's the string I put? I think it's just serialize asset like this. And then we obviously pass E, and that's it. That's all we have for this one. We'll just forward that on to the callback. Okay. Nah, whatever, it's fine. Okay, so that should work now, I think. So if in the main, or in the index, I'll just do serializing asset, and now where do we do this? Asset manager. When we create an asset, I need to do window.api.serialize asset. Wait, is this how I do it? Hang on, let me look at content browser real quick. Window.api.light blue stuff. Welcome in, hello. Wow, how's it go in light blue stuff? I just read that super weird cadence. Yeah, so filters, import asset. So I should be able to just do it like that then, that should be fine. What do you need? Window.api.import asset takes. We don't need a callback for this one. I see the problem. Take that. Doing fine. Very good. We just send the request straight through, basically. Send with essentially no data, I think. Or does it have to have a payload? Yeah. Send. That's what I was looking for. Okay, and that should be optional. We should be good there. All right. Is this for an Electron app? Yeah, this is an Electron app. This project built on 3JS with React and Typescript, obviously. Yep, we're getting there. I'm just working right now on the asset importing side of things, which is potentially a little dry unless you're really into this stuff. But yeah, we're getting there slowly. So textures are loaded in a non-scalable way right now. I'm basically building the content browser, so you could just import a texture through here. How's it going, Danny Boom Z? Welcome in. Nice to have you here. But yeah, that's kind of what we're working on. I can show you some more stuff if there's anything in particular you want to look at that I've done so far. But yeah, we're still pretty early on. I think it's day 15 of streams. I usually stream about an hour or two at a time. Danny Boom Z, thank you. No problem. Yeah. We should have lighting still working, I think. Yeah. Lights work, which is cool. That doesn't work very well though. My color picker is in a bit of a sorry state at the moment. But yeah, I'll come back to it. Yeah, okay, so yeah, so light blue stuff, yeah, it is Electron, and that's essentially what I'm fiddling around with right now. The whole song and dance of the Electron processes sending data back and forth. I do need to figure out a better way of doing this at some point. I really don't like the string sort of event-based way of doing this. I think there's ways I've seen people where they, in the preload script, they can like expose the API like implementation through here or something. But yeah. Serialize asset, and when that comes through. So potentially that might work. So when we create the asset, serialize asset, hit this, load that texture. This function didn't get called potentially. Any GitHub link? Yeah, I actually did open source this just the other day. Let me grab it for you if you want to take a look. This is the GitHub link. Where did you learn to code this kind of app? Danny Boom Z, actually this is the first time of like kind of coding any app kind of like this before. At least with this sort of technology, like I haven't spent a lot of time with web tech. I've done a custom game engine or it's more of a game framework in C#, but that didn't have much of the front end stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of just figuring it out as I go at the moment, but we get in there slowly but surely. Yeah. And specifically, I'm trying to figure out right now why my breakpoints aren't properly hitting in this file. Yeah. How about you? What kind of stuff do you work on? I'm assuming most people here are programmers, or at least interested in code in some capacity. Okay. So I busted something to where the whole engine won't load right now. That's the problem, I think. Yeah, of course I busted my textures when I passed through bad data. Oh god. Okay. So in the world, I guess I'll just stop doing this grid texture stuff for now. But I do need to give it some sort of material, so I guess I'll just give it one without any texture map. Alright, we're back. So that's just pure white. I think I can set color to maybe something else, so something like that. Pink. I've always wanted to create a game engine not as complex as yours, but like an RPG maker. I never got any further than the tile mapping. Oh, nice. Yeah. No, it is good fun. I'm actually really enjoying building a game engine. I make games as my job, so it's kind of nice to work on something still game related, but something slightly different. Yeah. But yeah, no, this isn't terribly complex just yet. It probably looks a little bit complex, but it's yeah, honestly, it's not a huge amount of code went into this so far. We're getting there though. Anyway, now that that's working, I think my breakpoint should be good. Yep. So we hit serialize asset, which should mean it doesn't seem like it worked. I didn't even have a breakpoint here, that's why. I'm trying to make it send the message through to the main process, which again has not happened. Let's see. ICP main on serialize asset. Yep, nothing gets passed through. We just do the log, that's fine. And then let me look at these again. So this is essentially the line I'm looking at. Okay, looks fine. And then again, this is prender send. I might have got these names a little mucked up, have I? Yes, I have. Oh god, that's why I hate this string stuff so much. Serialize asset. Okay, I think that should be linked together properly now. Textures. Okay, and we still did not hit the breakpoint in the main process because my breakpoint is gone again for some reason. What the hell? Come on, no. Right, so I've still screwed something up. I'm a full stack developer, Java and JavaScript, working as a freelancer in France. I'm passionate about every stuff related to programming. Very nice, I like to hear it. Java was my first ever programming language, and probably still ranks up there pretty much as my favorite, I'd say. Maybe C# slightly beats it, which is probably not what you want to hear as a Java developer, but yeah, I do still like Java. I still basically write all my code as if I'm writing Java. But yeah, and that's also why I'm enjoying TypeScript so much, I think. Serialize asset. Serialize. Yeah, I think my stuff was just messed up there. Okay, so serialize asset, there we go. Should be good now. Nope, what the hell am I in? Shoelace? Okay, nothing on the main process. Am I getting errors or something? Yes. Serialize asset is not a function. Ah, that's right. I have to restart the main process. I forgot about that. I keep just like I'm so used to the front end just auto updating like that I forget sometimes I have to relaunch the back end. This should help if I haven't made some other mistake, which I have. Wait, didn't I fix that before? What was that in texture 2D? It's complaining because this is no good. We shouldn't actually even be creating one of those though. Ah, the billboard components create textures, do they? Okay, let's just return here then. Have you always been making games? For quite a long time, yeah. Not always though. I got my first job making games in 2015, so almost, well, technically into 2014, but yeah, almost 10 years. But I was doing it before that, like as a hobby, obviously. Okay, now it's really not happy that the data's all screwed up. Oh, God, okay. This .data is just going to have to be for now until I get this working again. Texture loader dot load. And let's load. Okay, that's fine. That's good enough to get it working. Okay. So now that the main process has been rebooted, we should get that breakpoint, I would think. Yes, we do. Okay, good. Cool. So we're now on the main process, which means I can do all sorts of file system-y stuff. So what I want to mess with is the Node.js file stuff. Import like this. What are the functions on this then? Yeah, write file. So this is async by default, is it? Yeah. No. String or a buffer. Very good. Okay, so that should be fine. Write file, and I'll probably need read file, and probably a bunch of other stuff too. Actually, you know what? Let's just go import all as fs from fs. There we go. So you're making other kinds of apps for making games? Not really. No, I've always kind of done games. I made a few websites and that here and there or whatever, but yeah, pretty much always game stuff. I do have a few other like side programming projects occasionally, but they're usually game related. So yeah, I'm kind of like that's kind of one. That's all I sort of do is game stuff really. So I'm a little bit out of my depth on this stuff, I'll admit, but I am having fun. Runtime, do you prefer Node.js or Bun? So my colleague was showing me Bun the other day, and I think we have a guy in chat who's been making his own engine, and he uses Bun. And yeah, all I've heard is great things about it. Myself, I've never used it, but I have looked at it, and it does look pretty fantastic. Yeah, so, but this is Node.js, so yeah, I don't know. I guess I need to use Bun before I can have a strong opinion on which one I prefer. But yeah. So file exists. So how come I can't do this one? Exists is deprecated. Okay, whatever, sure. So I will need some sort of serialized data here, I guess. So I'm gonna have to, I guess, start sending that through. But essentially what I want to do, actually, and then asset path can get passed through as well. I want to just do fs dot write file path or file descriptor. Path or file descriptor. Okay, so that's the path essentially. Okay, so asset path. And then the data, and then a callback, replacing a file if it already exists. Okay, cool. I'm not sure if that's what I want just yet, but now what do we get in this callback? We get if there's no param callback. Okay. Do you have any book website you recommend to learn coding game engines? Not really. I mean, so when I was doing my C# engine, this is, so if you're going to do some like really similar to what I'm doing here, where you use like a high level rendering API, which in this case I'm using Three.js, so I didn't have to do all the graphics programming in this. Then if you're not going to do that, then what I would recommend, and what I did for my other engine, was learn OpenGL, which is for C++, but if you wanted to use Java, there's I think LWJGL, and then the actual one I used is called OpenTK, and that's basically an OpenGL library written for C#, which is the syntax is incredibly similar to Java. So yeah, I just follow through this and get some basic rendering down. I know a lot of people use IamGUI for UI, so you could mess with that too, but yeah, not really any concise like, hey, here's exactly kind of the steps you should take. But I also feel like that's part of the fun too, is like you get to kind of figure it out for yourself, like how you want stuff to be. It probably helps if you've used game engines quite a bit before. I use Unreal every day, so I'm pretty familiar with it. Yeah. So hey, welcome in, long time no see. Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, LWJGL. I'm pretty sure that's what Notch originally made Minecraft in, or with, I should say. Which is basically just an OpenGL wrapper, I think. Oh, it has a few different things in there, okay. Yeah, you need some maths, yeah. Well, a little bit of maths. I guess you don't really need to know a lot of math yourself. You just need to know how to Google what math you need, if that makes sense. So like transform and matrix multiplication and stuff, you just kind of need to know like like how to make it do what you need it to do, essentially. You don't need to be a math god necessarily for it, although it probably would help. If you've made games before, though, vector math should be pretty second nature to you, hopefully. That is, I do use pretty frequently, both making an engine and a game. But if you don't know any math, it's pretty simple to learn some of that stuff too. Yeah, but I don't have any, like, I guess I can't like sort of give you an exact like learning path on exactly what you should look at, because I don't really know. Okay, so when we write this file, I guess we'll just test if this works at all. Yeah, pretty much. So I don't know what to do on this callback if it doesn't actually return any information. Actually, maybe it's because I already did that. Because there's an overload otherwise, isn't there? Yeah, it passes back an error, okay. Console.log the error. See what you mean, thanks. Yeah, no worries. No problem. Okay, so if we head back into the render process, where was I doing all this? In the asset manager, I think. We want to create the asset and we want to serialize the asset, but we need now, in fact, I need to change this now. So there'll be data and asset path. I'm not entirely sure what to make this data object actually. So data and asset path. Okay, and then we just pass that through like that, and now we'll get an error in our front end because we don't pass through the right stuff. We need data and asset path. So the path, like the data, whatever, we'll handle that in a second. Asset. You guys hear me okay, by the way? I've fiddled around a little bit with my mic settings. Hopefully it's still sounds okay. For For the asset path, I'm just going to hard code it for now, because as I was saying before, I'm not sure if you guys were here, but the content browser, when it's implemented, the assets will get imported into the folder that I'm exploring in here. But because I haven't actually made this UI yet, I will just have to map it to my test folder, which is up here, game content. So that would be, oh god, what's that path going to be though? Up, game content, potentially. Up game content. Because I do something similar, so up and then renderer. Like, where is that coming up from? And then index.html. It's coming up from here. Yeah, okay. So in that case, it would be up, then up, yeah, then game, then content. Okay, so I think I've got it down then. You make me remember the first time I was in touch with 3D. It was on 3ds Max. Nice. Floor lamp took me 3 hours, never touched 3D again after that. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I have seen a little bit of 3ds Max and it looks pretty intimidating. Blender's getting pretty good these days though. I do use that quite a bit. Yeah, okay, so now I just need to quickly, for this, maybe, can I just like, what is it, JSON.stringify? Is that gonna serialize this? What are the odds that it's actually going to be able to serialize that though? We'll see what happens. Yep, so now when I create the asset, it's just going to serialize this through, and then the content browser has a button which does the asset import with the filters, which then does a callback to the asset manager. Does it come back here? Where is this called from right now? Oh, it goes to the texture yeah, it goes to the loaders, that's right. When you import the asset, it delegates to the loader, and then the loader does the actual asset creation. Okay, this is getting pretty gnarly, but we're getting there. So if I import this, can I see what? I should have put that in a variable so I can see. Yeah, okay, let's do that. And I have to restart the main process, I forgot. So data, and then put the path. All right. And yeah, let me fully restart this. How's it going, Zohaib? Welcome in. Nice to have you here. Right, so import. Okay. We get a bunch of data. Which I guess is good. It looks like texture stuff. And a path. So I guess let's see if that comes through to the main process then. Where are we? Serialize. Where is my What asset? Serialized asset here. Okay, yep, we do come through. The data makes it through. The path makes it through. Okay, and then we're about to write the file and see if we get an error. We do in fact get an error. What is the problem? Yeah, what's the error though? I'm assuming it's a path error. Yeah, I don't think we got anything actually in here. That is opening on my other monitor. Content, game, no. So we didn't get anything in that folder. We must have got an error. No such file or directory. Oh wait, documents, what the hell? Oh, I think I see what's happening. And I didn't actually put the name of the file after. Okay, so there's a couple of problems here. But I think then what I do is, where are we? If I map this from the game folder by default, why do I keep losing this function? What the hell? Here we go. So this can be the directory name, which we know, hang on, join this with up1, and then we can go to the renderer, but we want to go up1. Come on, up1 and then game. And then from here, we'll let the front end tell us. So it'll map to a content folder, actually. Maybe I do map it directly to the content folder. That'll be fine. So now the asset path can literally be basically the asset name for now. So that will change to that. I'll put that breakpoint back on. I'll leave that one there. And where is this asset manager? So now, yeah, so this is taken care of. It'll just map to the correct folder, but I could do like I don't know, textures slash what is this? Asset. The asset doesn't really have a name, does it? That's a good point. Whatever. Let's just see if it works at all. So test.uasset. There we go. So we should get a file in this folder here called test.uasset. We'll see if that actually works or not. Right. Import textures. This. Okay, we get the front end call, we get the back end call, the path, what the heck is this? Oh, there we go. Yep. That looks more right. Game content. Accept. Ah, bugger. I forgot to put this on the end. Okay. So we're going to need to try that again. We'll put these breakpoints back though. Import texture. Front end goes through, back end comes through. Okay, now the path, yeah, actually looks right now. So fingers crossed. No, we still got an error. No such file or directory. No such file or directory. Well, let's div this game content. Oh, because the folder doesn't exist? Is that why? Okay, how do I write a file but like force it to create like all the stuff it needs for it then? fs dot file dot write. Okay, we got descriptor, data, then options, then callback. So let's see what options I can put. Mode. Nah, I don't think it's mode. What do we flag then? What is flag? Fs, it's a string. Back to Google. Fs make dir recursive true. Output file. I mean, we could use that maybe. Don't know if I want to implement the whole thing. Let's see if this. This is all okay. Directory. Okay. And the name and the directory. Okay. I think I see. What's GL engine? GL engine? Where are you looking? In here somewhere? It's yeah, where are you seeing that? Anyway, it's a my C# engine basically. That is working on. So file sync. So file dot like. Shit. What was it? I forgot. Split the directory and name up, and then make dir sync. Okay. With directory and recursive true. Fs dot make dir sync with the directory and recursive true. Okay. Because yeah, what we need to do is not have the file name asset path, I guess asset name. Whatever. We can just split it up in here. Okay, so asset name will be the path dot split based on backslashes 0. And if that's not good, that should be fine. I think that'll do it. Okay, and then directory is going to be, is there actually like a helper for this? Directory name, surely. Whatever. Const directory is going to be, I guess, path dot replace. Replace path dot replace asset name with nothing. There we go. So write the directory and then write the file at the full path. Yeah, I think that will work then. So let's try stop everything. That's fine. Okay, import. Okay, this looks promising. We got a textures folder and a folder called textures.uasset. That's not what I had in mind. And then okay, so why did that create a folder? The directory, I guess this asset name thing didn't work. Split on /. I should breakpoint here and we'll just step through it. That's fine. Main window, remove menu, import the asset. Okay, we got here, step over. So that's our path. The asset name is not correct. So really we need to split on this. But I think that's just 1/, isn't it? Is it triple? Is that what I need? What the hell? This is getting nasty. Okay. Textures. No. Why is this not? Oh, it should be the last element actually, shouldn't it? Hang on. Node.js get file name from path. Path.base name. Okay. Import or as path. Oh wait, no. It's because I got two variables here called path dot base name of this. So that should return last portion of the path sum with an Unix base name command. To remove extension to remove no result. No, that's fine. So we keep that, and then is there? There's probably just one for this as well. Path dots. Surprisingly, no. There is. Oh, directory name. Might be that. We will give that a try. How's it going, Banana Balls? Welcome in. Right, asset name. Asset. Wait, what the hell? Asset name. Asset path. Directory is right. The asset name doesn't look like it got set, does it? I better rerun this completely. Maybe that's the problem. All right. Well, whatever. Let's just hit it, see what happens. So we make the directory. I should have deleted that because I'm not sure if that's going to work now. Hit resume, and we get our test.u asset, which is good. If I open that up and format it, no format. Well, it does look like a valid file, which is good. I guess I don't need the asset name. I guess that's the problem here. Maybe it just strips it out. Cool. Okay, so that created it. So let me just delete that and delete the textures folder as well, just to make sure this is going to work. Yep, import the texture, just send it. Textures, test.u asset. Okay, perfect. So this is working now, which is good. So we can create assets. Just trying to think of like how I want to store these as well. Because I need to know what path to put them at. Like, how do I figure out? I guess that would come from the content browser. Yeah, it would. Yeah, that's right. We talked about that. Okay, cool. So in theory then, if I do this, it should import it one level higher. Yep, which is good. Obviously it's bad that it's now duplicate assets, but that's fine. Okay, so create the UAsset file on disk, which is here. Now we need to register it, and registering is going to essentially load one from disk into this array. Now, potentially we could have it bypass reading from the disk here and just directly put it in that array, which is tempting to do, and I'm going to do it. loaded assets at whatever is equal to that asset. Okay. And down in this function, it's going to do basically the same thing, except it's going to have to load this from disk first because it doesn't have it straight away. So I'll just comment that out for now. Okay, so but where do we put this? I guess that we put this at whatever the path was. The path is going to be the index to the asset, essentially. What else? So another thing that would be nice, I guess, there's probably a few UIDs already going on in assets, but why can't I get to UAsset? Here we go. But it would be nice probably to have an ID of some sort. If you have two assets in the same path, will it work? Yeah, it will work. It's just you couldn't have two assets in this exact path with this exact name. It wouldn't work. One would overwrite the other, both in the loaded game engine and also on disk. So yeah, I could have like as many of these as I want, as long as they're called different things, basically. So a couple of things that would be nice to have in the UAsset. Why am I not getting the autocomplete for that? Is some sort of ID would be nice, maybe as a string, and I'll generate that through a GUID. But also, it would be nice to have some sort of type information. The value would be an array. The value would be an array. What do you mean? So in these loaded assets, my plan is basically to use the asset string, which is the path, like basically the same as, I think if I do this. No. What is it? Copy as path. This essentially would be the asset until it actually gets loaded and it's used in the game. So it would know, basically this is the asset essentially. And I might actually truncate it to like something more like this, honestly. But obviously I couldn't have two different textures with that exact same path or that same sort of index. It would have to be like test2. So yeah, this is just a dictionary of basically this ID, which is essentially just, yeah, the asset sort of where the asset lives essentially, and then the actual loaded asset at that path. And then yeah, so it probably is a good point to have like not just loaded assets here, also know what all the total assets are so that I can load them on demand. But for now I'm just going to load everything. But yeah, so that should work. That should load that. So what I wanted was some sort of type here, but I'm not, I guess I'll leave that for now. Generate UID. Okay, I hope that is actually unique because I'm relying on it. What is this? It's from 3JS. Okay, so it's probably fine then. And I'll have a getter for that. Both of those actually. Is there a short way I can write this? Not really, is there? Okay. Well, fine then. And this is going to have to potentially be undefined because there might not be a source path. But yeah, that's good. Yeah, you see? Yeah, so yeah, that's my plan. I mean, I'm taking the kind of Unreal Engine approach to this. There's a few other ways I could do this. Like I could put literally the Unity approach basically would be to have the PNG file here, as well as a .meta file, which is like the information about the image. Whereas I'm kind of baking all the data into one file, but then leaving a reference to the source file wherever that may be. So, which does mean that if the source file moves without the engine knowing about it, there'll be a problem. You won't be able to re-import it. You have to like manually locate the source file again. But you'll still be able to use the texture because it'll be like all the data will be baked into the UAsset files itself. If we go to like a random Unreal project I have here, you can see they do something real similar. So these are just like random blueprints or whatever I've been working on. They do binary serialization, but they do the same thing. They just create like a bunch of UAssets. Yeah, so I potentially should come up with a different extension name, but it's fine. Jesus, sorry. I didn't get to my mute button in time. Right, I'm gonna go for a wee bit longer, maybe till 10. My time. And then I'm gonna kick off because I am absolutely knackered. But, yeah, thanks, a bit of a sneezing fit. Hopefully that wasn't like too loud in your ears. Ideally I get these textures fixed. So now that I have textures loading, in the asset manager, we can, we have the loaded assets. This should actually get put in here, so let me test that. Do this fancy new thing I learned about. So if I do this, yeah, loaded assets ends up. Oh, that's not right. Well, no, that's fine actually. The reason it's just the name of the file is because it's actually like the path, not the full path, but the path from content onwards. So if I switch it back to textures, that'll be fine. Or textures 2 as an example. And re-import that one more time. Yeah, textures 2, so that is basically the soft version of the asset. And then the actual data is loaded, which has probably some sort of data in here somewhere, hopefully. Otherwise I'll have to manually serialize it. Looks like it actually doesn't have the data itself. But it's got all the properties I need for the texture. Yeah, so actually also did my ID worked, cool. Data source path is undefined, okay, so that's bad. So when I create this asset, which is in the texture loader, I actually also I need to set the path of it. I guess I'll just make that the getter not. Well, I'll just do a setter as well, whatever. It's fine. And return void and then this dot source path equals new path. What are you having a whinge about? Set accessor cannot have a return type annotation. Okay, well, sure. Set accessor cannot have an optional parameter. Okay. Oh god damn it, I do this every time. Put the parameters in the wrong order. There we go. Name and then type. I'm used to type then name. Cool. Okay, so now I can set the source path here. So if I go ahead and load that in one more time. We should get loaded assets. Now it has this asset and it knows the path where the texture actually came from, which is good because if I hit re-import to, like, I don't know, I change the texture in Photoshop or something, I need a way to like update the actual asset in the engine as well. So I can just look up that path. Yeah, so we're actually pretty good now. So textures are loading. Essentially now what I want to do is, for the first test, is to go back to here when we're doing this texture stuff. And I want to load that texture as an asset. So what I would essentially want is like asset manager dot get assets and of type texture 2D, and the path would be, what did I say? Textures slash, and I've done test, but I will actually make it default grid, same as the texture. Okay, like that, we have no path, no file type information because this is no longer a PNG. It's just it's a custom file type, technically a .u asset, but yeah. So we would do that, and that would return us grid texture. So this is basically the new API that I want, and now that that grid texture is there, we don't need to set the repeat because that can get set on the texture directly. Yeah, I mean, and then this line just becomes this grid texture.data, same as it was before. Yeah, so pretty much I just need a way to get it like this, and then we'll be fine. So let's work on that a little bit. Make a function. T, which extends uAsset, and asset path as a string, and then we return T basically. Implement that function just yet, but we should get no compile errors back here. Cannot find name. Oh, we don't have the asset manager imported. Cool. So that syntax will now work. It should return, yep, texture 2D. This is gonna assume that this always works. I don't know how exactly I'm gonna handle this not working. Like you try to load an asset from a path that doesn't exist. But now basically all we need to do is look up our loaded assets at that asset path and return it as T. Well, it should already be, no, yeah, as T, because it's a U asset, but I need to essentially downcast it to the specific asset type. So I mean, that is basically it, as long as that loaded asset comes through. So we might actually be able to test this out. The only problem is we use this before we're supposed to. So yeah, we have no texture going on. Then I import the texture. Oh, that's right. Hang on. Texture loader. No, it's not texture loader. Content browser? No. It is texture loader. What are you talking about? It must be in here. Create the asset which does the path. Yeah, this needs to not be hard coded like this. So what it really should be is some type of folder. Let's just, I guess, do nothing for now. And assets dot source path. Shit. Well, how do I? I need some sort of name or something here. I think. Like an asset name, essentially. Yeah, so I have to pass a thing up now to the constructor, which means I should put that at the front, probably. Pass the name up. And then we've got an error in, where is it? Texture loader, because we don't pass in a name. But we should be able to get the name right here, file name. And hopefully that doesn't have the like .png, but we'll see. Yeah, so now in the texture loader, or is that where I am? That is where I am. Where do I want to go? Asset manager. This can now just be the asset's name. Which, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of, it's kind of gnarly to be doing like that, because then what do I use as the path? But what I think I'll do is I'll change this from name to like the same thing we did up here, basically what the ID of these things are. Take me back here. I need a getter for that. Okay, but that should be enough to get us semi-working potentially. Because then we serialize that asset which has the name in it, add it to the loaded assets. How's it going, Shaikh? Welcome in. Okay, create assets. The name is default grid perfect. That's what I wanted. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So now, if I let that actually run through and then go to the world, what I would want is, and actually this probably won't work because essentially I've got it loaded into memory here, but this is going to refresh once I save, I think. Yeah, it does. Okay. So this is now the next, like to actually get this fully working. It's kind of frustrating that I have to do this, and I might not have time tonight, but I need to actually run through register the assets from disk when, like, basically here, scanning for assets, which is essentially when the engine boots up. Like when I save here, essentially what's happening is the engine is like as if I'd closed it and opened it, basically. The UI refreshes, which refreshes the engine, which means it loses the loaded assets. Obviously, when someone's actually developing this game, they're not like a game in this engine. They're not going to be. They'll be working from within the engine. They won't be refreshing it like this. But since I'm doing that, I can load textures into memory. But as soon as I then try to use the asset, it refreshes. So basically, I need to load from disk when the engine boots up, which is essentially currently every time I save. So that is the problem, is this array is going to continually get emptied, which means I need to load every asset from disk. Now how do I find, I guess there must be a way to just quickly find every asset on disk. Okay. Okay, so that might work. Okay, there's a few other things as well, but essentially it's kind of just like manually code it. I'm going to take one quick break and then I'll be right back, and we'll get this hopefully working tonight. back. Not for too long, because I do need to go to bed. I'm pretty tired, but I do want to make a little more progress tonight. So yeah, I'm not sure if I want to use more npm packages for all this. Okay. Okay. Alright, so yeah, let's just do basically what this guy's doing then. And I do need to do this on the main process again, which is annoying. Because I can't really interact with the file system on the render process. Not properly anyway. Where is yeah, whatever. ICP main on blah blah blah. Do some stuff with E. Okay. And let's put this function somewhere I can grab it. Okay. Okay, like that. fs.read file sync from the directory. This is actually going to be the path. Okay. Just, yeah, let's just call it that. Okay. Auto absolute path file. Okay, read all files, and then files.push. So we kind of need something here. This is just an array for right now. And I need to type it, it looks like. And then we just return files. And now I can rename this to be like that, how I want it. That's good. And actually, let's take this back to being a function. That was probably fine as a function. I'm not sure why I made it that other type of function. I don't even know what you call it. The const sort of variable style. And this can return a string array. Okay. So we just kind of hope this guy's code works, essentially. I'll debug it if it doesn't. But, I mean, at a glance, it seems like it'll be fine. It seems to be doing some sort of recursive search. Why is my prettier stopped working all of a sudden? Oh. Because the whole file got messed up. Alright. So we have this function now. I should be able to go down to here. And if I just call this like discover assets, maybe. We want to get all files at path. Now, it's essentially, yeah, going to be this. asset directory, and it's hard coded for now, but eventually this will be where your project content directory is, and potentially any like mods or DLC folders as well. Asset files, file paths. Okay, and then we actually need to load the data from all of these. So it's going to be like asset file paths dot for each asset file path. Yeah, then we do some stuff. And what we need to essentially do is, I think it's fs dot read file sync. The path is going to be this. And yeah, the flags are fine, I guess. Okay, and then I think all we need to do to turn it back into a UAsset is essentially JSON.pass the data. This returns a buffer. Can that be a string though? Should be fine. Should be fine to maybe make that a string. I'm not sure if a buffer is not assignable to type string. Read file sync. Read file. Oh. Do I need to specify that it's UTF-8? I might. Yeah, okay, and now it's allowing it to be a string. Okay, that's kind of smart from TypeScript. I didn't know it could be that fancy. You never use ChatGPT? Nah, I don't. I mean, I have used it before, but I haven't really found, other than sort of creative ideas and stuff, like, hey, I want to make a game. Do you have some ideas and characters or whatever? Stuff outside of that, I haven't really found it super helpful, honestly. Yeah, but I have seen some cool stuff, like people have cool integrations into VS Code and that, but the ones I've tried anyway, I just haven't sort of gotten a lot of use out of. I probably would and probably should do it, but yeah. So this is any, and I think I could make this a UAsset. How about you? What's your experience been, Danny? Whatever. Let's just leave that as an any, I guess. So if I go const assets, okay, and then dot push assets. Okay, and then I need to figure out how to basically send this back to the client. Not to the client, well, yeah, kind of to the client. And I could have sworn I did that somewhere in here. looks like this refresh I did it with. Sorry for the sneezing again. It's like with web contents. Yeah, here. This is it. Web contents dot send blah 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 whatever. This is the response. Okay, discover assets. So yeah, we can send back assets discovered. I should probably be using promises for this stuff potentially, but okay, and then yeah, I'm gonna do it like that. I'm not sure what the best way to send, because I don't have my types in here, I guess. Yeah, so if I go discover assets, discover assets, nothing, and just forward that straight through to ICP renderer dot send use it every day at work. You configured it to generate me only code and it's very helpful. I learned a lot thanks to it. Oh, that's cool. Codium is good and integrates with VS Code. I see. I'm pretty sure I've tried Codium, I think. Codium? Maybe not. There was one VS Code one I tried at one point. Yeah, no, I'm interested to know like how you like what the use cases are like. Like, is it like you just get it to write functions for you, or you ask it questions about your code, or like basically the trouble I've had with them before is it can understand like for what I've tried anyway, and bear in mind this was a while ago. It could understand like local context, like maybe I could ask it questions about this function, or like, you know, hey, can you help me, I don't know, implement some logic here or whatever. But asking it questions about like the whole architecture of the app, it was never able to get quite right. So like I could be in here and ask it questions about writing some logic that it needs to then create some new classes and sort of reason about the whole project. And I think it's because I have so many files going on, but yeah, I couldn't get it to sort of like comprehend. It was basically making up all sorts of functions, and yeah, it was good at like solve this really small particular sort of programming thing, more so I found. You're worried it'll have, yeah. Potentially. It depends how you use it. I don't know. Like, I guess if you're just getting to write all your code for you all the time, but like, as I said, I feel like there's still a lot of architecture design that has to go into coding, even if like, because honestly, like, it's when I'm coding, like, the actual like syntax a lot of the time is not the you know, it is what it is. Like, I fumble through it and stuff, but it's not like, I wouldn't say it's a terribly hard part of coding. The hard part is like, you know, where do I put this piece of code? How do I break these things up so they work nicely together? You know, that kind of stuff I feel like is you know, still valuable. Like, you still have to think about that stuff basically. Okay, all my sprites are dead. That's good. Wish I hadn't looked in that file. Okay, so I'm trying to remember. So asset import request, where does that get called? Okay, I see. So I want to do that here. So discover assets with a callback, which then contains assets, which is unfortunately just an any array because I don't know how to expose the type just yet. Yeah, and then this I guess is the individual thing, so that's discovered. And that takes this, I suppose. Okay. Yep, so the syntax is essentially like this. I just need to do it in the asset manager. When I scan for assets at the start of the game, I need to go window dot discover assets, and these are going to be assets, and then assets dot for each asset and register it. Okay, which should basically put it in this array, and unfortunately asset as uAsset, can I just straight up cast that? No. Okay, how about in here? I basically need it to let me have Typescript think this is, oh, it's because, here we go. No, wrong way around again. Asset, uAsset. Okay, yeah, that's good. So it will actually accept an any in there, which is interesting. But I can force it to be a uAsset. GitHub Copilot and how it works is it uses open tabs and as a context, and you can ask whatever you want about them. For example, you can select a portion of text and ask it to give you example of refactoring, or you can ask it to generate functions that you'll typically search for on Stack Overflow, convert an image to base 64 or whatever. Oh yeah, I mean that makes sense, like kind of the stuff I've been googling here then, I guess. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I'm just too used to doing things the old way, but yeah, I guess you're right. So like I was googling out of habit, like how do I use stuff like this? I guess I could just ask ChatGPT that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a good point. I should try that more. You still have old habits, yeah. I kind of just forget AI like is, you know, reasonably capable these days. Okay, so that should now hopefully, I really need to go to bed, so I hope this works pretty much straight away. It needs to work similar to import asset, where we take E, no, not that one. Where is it? Where's the request one? God, this is so confusing. Asset manager. Load asset from path. Content browser. So we call import asset. So where does this get called then? Oh, this is the receiver. Most useful features. Oh wait, sorry, I missed a few. Codium predicts fairly well for local functions, and you can ask it for things. There is a playground on their site. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll check that out. Thanks, sir. Clips a lot. The most useful features is the auto-completion. You write code and it suggests you to complete your code based on the whole file. Codium seems interesting. I should try it out. Yeah. Yeah. It all does seem pretty interesting. I don't know if I would maybe enjoy autocomplete. I guess I'd have to try it again, but because like, does it get it right most of the time? I feel like that'd be really annoying if it gets it wrong. Okay, so we want to essentially in the asset manager have a listener open up. And then, you know what? Let's just do it. Ooh, oh god, what did I just push? Let's do it in the same place I did that other one. Where was that? That was like in the editor or something? Yeah. So when the editor boots up, we'll just start listening for asset discovered. Except I want this to be assets discovered. And this is just to start the thing happening, so I don't need anything there. Assets discovered, assets, blah blah blah, go through them all. Did I not just write this code somewhere? Asset manager. I feel like I'm losing it. Yeah, I did it in here in the wrong spot. Assets, asset, register asset, asset as you asset. Said asset like 8 times then, right. Most of the time it's what you were thinking about, and that's often time saving. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, maybe I'll try it out on stream sometime. Maybe on the next stream, I'll give it a go. Tab to accept it. Okay. So you both prefer coding with it than without then? I assume. I definitely should try it then. Okay, so now we just need to fire off the request in, well, like basically when the engine loads. So I guess it's the same thing. Window.api.discover asset. So we just say, hey, to start discovering assets, let's just replace that. So this one with the callback is like this. Basically like the line above. Read your mind. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Look, assets discovered, so that will be the renderer on assets discovered, and then E, and then assets is gonna go to the callback with the assets. Okay, and then this one is pretty much just send it straight over. Like send the message discover assets. Okay, like that. When it's for work, then you have to be effective, so it's really helpful. But yesterday I wanted to code a Tetris with TTT, test-driven development, and I disabled it to force myself to think a little bit. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's interesting. I do wonder how that would feel after a while of whether you do lose like muscle memory or something, I don't know. Okay, so hopefully these messages are going through. So I guess the first thing I'll do is, well, the first thing I'll do is restart the main process. But the first callback I need comes from, where is it? Discover assets right here. That should come through pretty much straight away. With any luck. Yep. So we immediately begin trying to discover assets. Then we do some discovery. And find... We actually found two. Default grid. And... Oh, right, yeah, of course we did. There's heaps of stuff in here. Ooh, maybe I should do that. Okay, then the thing goes back to the render process, hopefully, in the editor. And should call this function with the assets we just discovered. I'm not entirely convinced that just worked then. Okay. So we go down here. We should only have one thing in here now. Yep. Which is... data ID name default grid. Yep. That's good. Okay, take that off. So now we see if we hit the main process, and it seems like we're not. Assets discovered. Editor. Assets discovered. Assets, yeah, so these aren't coming through then, I guess. Asset manager, register asset. Yeah, no, we're definitely not coming through. Okay, so is that a problem then with the preloader, maybe? Discover assets. No, it seems like the preload's fine. Asset import request. We do a send, discover assets. We do a send. Then the callback is on assets discovered. Those assets run the callback with that. Okay. Yep, that all looks right. we getting errors or something? What's going on? No. We're just not getting this call coming through. Index. Rerun it sometimes. That helps. Once we get this working, I think we're pretty much good. Yeah, so we're sending, well, I'm trying to send an asset through on the channel assets discovered. Is that right? Web content send. Yeah, that's right. Main window is a thing. Okay. We just don't get any assets registered. Okay. Well, let me register them anyway and we'll see what happens. So because there's potential that they are actually getting registered and I'm just not catching it properly because I'm putting the breakpoints so early. Can I do some runtime evaluation on this? Can't really get the asset manager from here either, can I? No. Anyone spot anything I'm doing wrong here? Oh, wait a second. I think it might have been in there already. Yeah, I think it is in there. Okay. I'm just not hitting breakpoints, I think, because it's so early in the process. In which case, in my world, I should essentially be able to turn this back on and potentially get something. Let's turn this back on and this off. Nope, hates it. Canary properties undefined, reading data. Oh, the grid texture didn't return? Okay, so let's see what we're looking for here then. Yeah, I don't know if I can get breakpoints this quick. I'm gonna have to log it. Log the asset path. So default grid is the asset path. Now if I log the assets, oh yeah, no, there is nothing in this. So does that mean I'm loading it to which it might not be loading quick enough then. So if I call, let's put some logs in. Okay. This is all my reflection stuff. Okay, so no, it isn't actually working then. Or I'm printing too early. Or it's also could potentially be because wait a second, this one. Because I don't get far enough into the engine running for it to work, potentially too. Yeah, registering asset found on disk. Okay, so what's happening is the asset registering is happening. Yeah, so the world loads first before any assets have even registered. So the asset registry is 100% gonna have to go as the first thing. I don't know why the world is first. The well, whatever. Okay, so it still loads now, and we get yeah, that's fine. I should put a better message here then. Asset dot name. Undefined. Okay, cool. That's not good. Really? Undefined? What, yeah, the key is nothing. Okay, that's interesting. So if I get rid of this then and import again. Okay, and then refresh. Yeah, the key is no good. Okay. Oh my god, the key's no good because of this. Jesus. Come on, Jade. Yeah, you can tell how tired I'm getting. I'm sorry. Wait, but the name still is undefined. Okay, the deserialization is not working properly, I think. But I don't really have time to fix that tonight. But what I can potentially do is re-enable this. No, still no good. Cannot read properties reading data. Which is because, I guess because the grid texture is no good. Because the lookup doesn't work. Because I'm actually looking for a real thing with it. The strange thing is that the name is good here. And that is printed a little bit later though. Why is that undefined? Asset.name. What about the source path? Is that undefined as well? Yeah, it is. So like literally everything is undefined here. That's weird. Shouldn't be able to be like that, but yeah. It's like the properties haven't loaded on it yet or something. Asset.name. Okay, well, I think we're very close. I just haven't quite nailed the deserializing, I'm pretty sure, is what's happening here. But unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to leave it there. It's almost an hour longer than I intended to go. We have made some progress, for sure. It's just a bit of a grind to get this asset manager stuff in. Once I solve this next problem, we've got the assets on disk actually working, we should be able to implement pretty much the content browser and everything in it. I've just noticed this doesn't have the extension. Is that a problem? Control // what do I use? Yep, no I do. Control // oh, sometimes I probably do it manually as well, but yeah. Occasionally I'll do that. It's probably usually when I'm commenting out multiple lines, I'll Control // but yeah, so the assets are almost ready to go. I just need to basically deserialize this file properly, which supposedly has the data I need in it, but it might not. I can see the source path and I can see the name, so it must be a timing problem then. And here's the data that the thing's complaining about, the world, I think. Text2JSON, yeah. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. I will be away on a business trip for a wee while, but I will definitely be streaming again when I'm back. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good night, and I'll catch